Chapter 26 Camp 3.5. Zopa pushed US hard the next 2 days. We were out of camp before dawn, climbing with headlamps. Yogi and Yash were always long gone before we started out, and we didn't see them until we stopped at the end of the day. I had no idea where we were, but according to my altimeter watch, we were gaining altitude. Not that I needed the watch. Every breath was painful now. At the end of the day, it was all Sunjo, and I could do to eat a little food, drink, and then crawl into our bags. On the third morning, I was surprised to open my eyes and see sunlight coming through the blue tent fabric. I looked over at Sunjo and saw that he was staring at the light, too. We had barely talked the past few days. No time, no breath. "How are you doing?" I asked. "Not well," Sunjo said. "You've done okay the last couple of days." He shook his head. "It has been very hard." That was an understatement. We had done several technical climbs the past 48 hours. It had been some of the most difficult climbing I had ever done. "Any idea where we are?" Sunjo sat up with a groan. "Feels like we're on the summit." I laughed, which turned into a short but painful coughing fit. When I recovered, I said, "Maybe Zopa is going to give us a day off." "Not likely." We went through the contortions of getting dressed in our small tent, then crawled out. Light snow and freezing fog. We hadn't seen the sky in 3 days. Yogi and Yash were crouching next to the camp stove. Yogi said something that made Sunjo blanch. "What?" I asked. "Zopa is sick." I understood why he was upset. Zopa didn't get sick. Zopa was the Iron Man. He had seemed fine the night before when we got to camp. We hurried over to his tent. He looked terrible, bloodshot eyes, runny nose, pale, but he managed to sit up in a sleeping bag when he saw us. "We will go up to camp for this afternoon," he said. He wasn't going anywhere in his condition. "The virus?" I asked. "I think so," he answered with a slight smile. "Or maybe it's just age." "Regardless," Sunjo said, "we should go back down. We need to get you help." "We cannot go down," Zopa said. "The Chinese are waiting for us. Our only escape is up." "We have to come down eventually," I said. "But not on this side." "What are you talking about?" "Nepal is a little more than a mile away from here." I thought he was delirious or something. It would take us days to reach the Friendship Bridge into Nepal. He took out the map and pointed to the south side of the summit. "This is Nepal," he said. He pointed to the north side. "This is Tibet." He walked his fingers up the north side of Everest, then down the south side. "You mean we're not coming back down the north side into Tibet?" I asked. "When you reach the summit," he said, "you will head south into Nepal." "But we're not set up for the south side." I protested. "We don't have tents or gear or—" "Sherpas will help you," Zopa said. "Friends of mine. We have already gotten word to them. They will be waiting on the other side. Yogi and Yash will take you to the summit." "What about you?" Sunjo asked. "As you can see, I am in no condition to climb. Camp 4 is as far as I will be going." "Then we'll wait until you get better," Sunjo insisted. "That's right," I said. "I don't care if I get up to the summit by my birthday. It's not important to me anyway. We'll set up a camp somewhere or stay right here until you get better." Zopa shook his head. "We don't have enough food or supplies. Yogi and Yash can get more supplies from the other Sherpas." "That is not the only obstacle," Zopa said. "The weather. In 3 days, it will be good for a summit attempt. You will have to be in position." I glanced back outside. It was snowing harder and the fog had thickened. "How can you know that?" Zopa shrugged. "It was impossible." "Okay," I said, "so the weather breaks and we make it to the summit and somehow make it down the south side. How are you going to get past the Chinese soldiers on the north side?" "I'm a Nepalese citizen in Tibet with legal papers. Captain Shek has no grounds to arrest me. You saw what happened the last time he tried. I don't think I will be caught, but if I am, the very worst he can do is deport me, which is what I want anyway. I'll see both of you on the other side." "I don't think I can make it to the summit," Sunjo said. "I had a lot of trouble yesterday." "I'm afraid I've put you in a terrible situation," Sunjo, Zopa said. "You'll have to make it to the summit now." I thought about offering to stay with Zopa at Camp 4 and help him down the mountain after he got better. But this was clearly not in keeping with my mother's instructions to stay selfish. And I did want to get to the summit. The debate was resolved by Zopa. He gave me a monkish smile. I don't need your help, Peak, but Sun Joe will. I just stared at him, relieved I didn't have to make the decision and stunned that he seemed to have read my mind. Ow! Zopa held up his hand. Sun Joe will not reach the summit without your help, he said. I need to rest, and so do both of you. We have a hard climb ahead of us. Sun Joe took Zopa's advice. I tried to sleep, but couldn't. I joined Yogi and Yush at the fire. Yogi pulled out an oxygen tank and mask out of his pack. He showed me how to attach the mask to the regulator. Then he held up 2 fingers, indicating I was to set the dial to 2 liters per minute. Then, using Yush as a model, he showed me how to put on the mask. When he finished, he took everything apart and had me put it all back together. It wasn't as easy as it looked. I had to pull off my outer mitts, and my fingers went numb in spite of the fact that I was still wearing gloves. This reminded me that I still had JR's little video camera in my pack. I had completely forgotten about it. I needed to start filming our trip, which should give you a little idea of how the brain functions or doesn't function at high altitudes. I managed to get the mask hooked up to the tank. Then I put the mask on and tried to adjust the straps for a tight fit over my nose and mouth. The mask was cold, uncomfortable, and a little claustrophobic. Yush had a perfect solution to the discomfort. He turned on the oxygen. In my entire life, I had never felt anything so wonderful. The OS flowed into my body like some kind of magic elixir. For the first time in weeks, I felt warm, sharp, and strong. The feeling was short-lived because Yogi turned it off almost immediately. Reluctantly, I took off the mask. The Sherpa brothers were smiling at me. Yogi said something in Nepalese, then held up 5 fingers. Got it, I said. Not until Camp 5. Theoretically, you could use all the way up the mountain. The problem was you would have to use a half dozen Sherpas to carry enough oxygen tanks to get up the mountain. The tanks didn't last that long. Yogi and Yush left around noon. A couple of hours later, Zopa came out of his tent, looking like a corpse emerging from a tomb. 3 mugs of hot tea seemed to revive him a little. I packed his gear, then roused Sun Joe, who looked a lot better after his nap. We started out for Camp 4. This time Sun Joe and I had to wait for Zopa. About halfway there, he put on an oxygen mask and cranked it up. This certainly put a little more spring in his step. I was envious.